And welcome back to another podcast with Mr. Hagan. And on this podcast, we're going to just continue working with the aggregate expenditure model. So we're just going to go through a set of examples here. So here I have my aggregate expenditure curve, which remember is consumption plus planned investment plus government spending plus net exports, does not include changes in inventory. Here we have y equals AE, that's the 45-degree line, and then we're at some equilibrium level of gross domestic product, and then we get real world event. Congress increases income taxes in order to balance the budget. Now, we're not being normative here. We're not saying whether that's good or bad. We're just saying what happens if Congress does this. So if Congress increases income taxes to balance the budget, we have to identify our determinant. I say my determinant is going to be a change in consumption taxes. Consumption is going to be the category, taxes is going to be the individual determinant. And so what does that mean? Well, if the government raises taxes, that means people are going to have less money to engage in consumption. That means consumption is going to decrease, and that's going to cause spending to decline. The entire aggregate expenditure curve is going to shift down as a result to, say, aggregate expenditures 2 as a result of the decrease in consumption. And so we record here that's going to be a shift down in the aggregate expenditure curve. And then that simply means that production here is now going to be greater than spending here. And so as a result of that, if production is greater than spending, inventories are going to build up, and companies as a result are going to begin to decrease production until we get to our new equilibrium point. That would be right here, where production is equal to spending. Changes in inventories goes back to 0, and we're at a new gross domestic product. So the final thing we would say is that causes a decrease in gross domestic product. So let's say now what our rule would be. Our rule would be increase taxes shifts the curve down, and decrease taxes would do the opposite. Decrease taxes would shift the curve up. So decrease taxes, curve shifts down. Sorry, just said that wrong. Increase taxes, curve shifts down. Decrease taxes, curve shifts up. I just said that wrong, so let me just write it just so that you're really clear on it, so that there's no mistakes. Decrease taxes, curve shifts up. That increases aggregate expenditures. Or if you get an increase in taxes, which is what this example was right here, if you get an increase in taxes, then aggregate expenditures will shift down. All right, this has been Mr. Hagan on another podcast, and we'll see you on the next podcast.